This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
We're in a weather alert this evening. Our Weather First team is tracking rain for the evening rush hour. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. That rain is going to stick around into tomorrow, so let's check in on the forecast with meteorologist Jim Castillo.
Yeah, you know, the Cardinals were playing in that mist and light rain throughout the day, and you can see it through downtown St. Louis. Nothing severe, nothing too terribly heavy yet, but a steadier band is just to the south of us, Farmington Park Hills. It is headed north, so we'll watch the metro get a little bit of a soaking as we get into the evening hours. Again, we haven't seen any reports of any lightning or thunder down here until you get to southwest Missouri, but you can't really rule out that chance of hearing some thunder. Again, no severe weather, but 59 for that temperature right now, and an east-northeast wind at 12 miles an hour. That wind also picks up as we get into the overnight hours. Gusts of 40 miles an hour are possible. So the weather alert continues for that steadier rain moving in as we get throughout the evening. And then overnight tonight, it's just wind and rain. And here's that futurecast, just showing those pockets of gold and yellow starting to move in really from St. Louis south and eastward. And that rumble of thunder can't be ruled out. If you're north and west of St. Louis, a lot less in terms of rainfall. And I'll have those amounts coming up in just a few minutes. But for now, that is it for me. Mike?
And you can get our Weather First forecast on your phone. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 for a link.
Tonight, critics respond to a Wall Street Journal report about downtown St. Louis's real estate.
Yeah, the article calls it a nightmare and said the city is desperately trying to reverse the, quote, doom loop. Our Justina Coronel spoke to several downtown advocates. She joined us now in studio with more. Justina?
Mike and Kelly, the article talked about the vacancy of the Railway Exchange building and the AT&T tower, which was just purchased. It also focused on empty storefronts, the pandemic pitfall, and a big drop in foot traffic, looking at the study from the University of Toronto. In response to this, Greater St. Louis Inc. shared this image. It said University of Toronto's definition of downtown is in blue, and the actual definition of downtown is in light green. The organization, which advocates for a better downtown, believes the data on economic recovery used a smaller portion of the area. And because of this, they believe data analysis should show downtown and downtown west recovering 82% of its visitors post-pandemic. Greater St. Louis Inc. Senior Vice President tells me they knew the Wall Street Journal was working on this article, and they actually shared information. But he claims some details were used in the article and some were not.
We did not end up with issues like this, some of the problem properties, for instance, because of a year or two. This is because some of this has been decades in the making. So a lot of this that was pointed out in the article, we knew, we've been working on, and I think we're starting to make some progress on. We understand that we still have ways to go to make downtown the place that we all deserve.
I also spoke to the owner of Ucraft, a restaurant and catering business in downtown St. Louis. He opened up his business in 2020, and he said now they're seeing about 200 to 300 people a day for lunch. He tells me revenue is up, so much so they're expanding to a bigger space nearby.
Tonight, new details on a homicide at an apartment near St. Louis University's campus. Police say a 21-year-old man was killed inside Coronado Place and Tower Apartments.
Right now, investigators do not have the shooter in custody. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer has more on the investigation and residents' concerns.
St. Louis police say it's unclear if the person killed last night at Coronado Apartments was renting or visiting someone. However, police say that person was not a student at SLU and had no affiliation to the university. Police say they responded to the apartments at the corner of Spring and Lindell at 8 Tuesday night. They found a 21-year-old man shot in the chest and recovered drugs and drug paraphernalia from the scene. Police believe it was an isolated incident that was drug-related or the result of a drug deal. SLMPD says since January 2022, the department has received 267 calls for service at the apartment building, for things ranging from shots being fired to domestic disturbances and stolen cars. Residents are calling for more security at the apartment. They say the living conditions are subpar and dangerous.
Hire more security and recognize that there's a lot of SLU students that live here.
Because a lot of it is obviously just like more about the area and some bigger problems in the city rather than the building itself. But also this doesn't happen at other places where people live around here. So
SLMPD says they're working with both the apartment's management and SLU's public safety to address crime at the apartment. Reporting in St. Louis, Diamond Palmer, 5 on your side.
A man is charged for firing shots outside a gas station in Hazelwood. Police say DeJohn Clemens fired shots from his car yesterday afternoon. This happened at the Quick Trip on Lindbergh near Interstate 270. It involved Amazon workers and a gas station customer. We're told one of the workers made a comment about a woman walking by, and she called her son. He showed up and fired the shots. No one was hurt. Police say Clemens drove off after firing the shots and was later arrested.
An explosive sweep turned out to be a false alarm at Scott Air Force Base today. A dog alerted crews about a vehicle this morning at an inspection gate. There was a shelter-in-place order while crews secured the area. No explosive devices were found.
Tonight, police are investigating break-ins at several businesses in Soulard. They happened early this morning. Surveillance video shows them breaking into Big Dad's twice. The same suspects broke into 1860 Saloon, Molly's in Soulard, and Bogart's Smokehouse. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Some bad news on inflation today. A new report shows prices went up 3.5% in March compared to a year ago. Things like gas, rent, and groceries are costing people more money. High prices continue to punish American shoppers for years after the pandemic closed many stores and snarled the supply chain. Our political editor Mark Maxwell is here with new reaction to this morning's Consumer Price Index.
Kelly, the stubborn nature of high prices appeared to catch many investors off guard this morning. The opening bell on Wall Street saw stocks tumble after that surprising news from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Consumer Price Index showed inflation climbing 3.5% higher from March of last year. Rising prices driving electric bills 5% higher in the last year. Rent up 6%, baby formula up 10%, mechanics charging 12% more, and car insurance spiking a drastic 22% higher. Inflation peaked in mid-2021 and really started to cool consistently ever since vaccines became readily available. That was until about 6 months ago, around the same time the Federal Reserve stopped raising interest rates. President Biden reacted to this report and said, quote, "I'm calling on corporations, including grocery retailers, to use record profits to reduce prices."
Because they try to hold costs down where they can, right? Retail's a price sensitive market, so you want to keep your prices as low as possible. But people need to recall that retail's at the end of the production line, right? All of the other costs are built in before it even gets to the retailer.
That's Rob Carr with the Illinois Retail Merchants Association. He says outside of the Federal Reserve, very few government officials are really in a position to directly control the ebb and flow of inflation. That hasn't stopped state governments and politicians from trying to show some sensitivity to that sticker shock. Proposals in Illinois and Missouri could this year abolish the state's grocery taxes.
Coming up, negotiations continue on a new ceasefire deal, why Hamas says it can't agree to Israel's terms.
A crackdown on forever chemicals and the effort the EPA is making to get rid of PFAS in drinking water.
Protecting your personal information. Tonight, our Verify team looks into claims that hotel key cards can be used to steal your identity.